Howdy folks, I'm Julius Brown, and tonight we're going to talk about where we are in the United States today. And to do that, I have to go back to February 7th of 2020. It's currently September 13th of 2020. On February 7th of 2020, and I'm going to keep saying that date, February 7th of the year 2020, President Donald J. Trump had an interview with Bob Woodward. He allowed Bob Woodward to record that interview, and Bob Woodward has shared that information with us. He has shared the president's voice and his words. In January, in February, in March, in April, in May, in June, in July, in August, in September of the year 2020, while we as Americans faced the coronavirus, COVID-19, our president decided it was in our best interest to withhold information from us. Information about how deadly COVID-19 could be. About the dangers that it possessed. About what our nation needed to do to address the situation. President Donald J. Trump, whose one job it is to stand for the American people, to provide us with guidance and leadership, neglected to give us valuable information about a pandemic that had reached our shores. He neglected to tell us information that had been provided to him on behalf of the American people. He neglected to give us a fighting chance. Luckily, we are the United States. We are a durable people. We evolve. We fight. We overcome. We make up for the shortcomings of those that came before us. And the man who stood before us in this time was President Donald John Trump. On February 7th, the year 2020, he said that he knew that the virus was airborne. It was spread just by breathing. He said that he knew that it was 5 times more deadly than the seasonal flu, that we spend millions and millions of dollars in advertising, in medication, in education and awareness to manage on a yearly basis. Let me say that again. The flu is something that we deal with from year to year, and we spend millions of dollars just to manage the fact that it exists. If you listen to the interview with Bob Woodward, I want you to think about all the different times that President Trump has talked about anything about its difficulty, about how hard it was. This man withheld information from us because he was proud of how deadly this pandemic could be, about how much struggle we would be in for. Why? Because he knew it would make him look good when we faced it and overcame it. He knew it would help his poll numbers. He already knew that it would be a defining point in his presidency. This man declared himself a wartime president. Told us that we were all soldiers in the war against the coronavirus. Well, Mr. President, Mr. Commander-in-Chief, since that's the way you want to play it, let's talk about your poor performance as a leader of your troops. When you lead men, when you lead Americans, when you ask us to put our lives on the line for you, you're supposed to give us the tools that we need in order to succeed. You're supposed to provide us with tactical information. You're supposed to give us the information that is provided to you for the American people. If our intel agencies gather information about how to protect us, how to save lives, you're supposed to give us that information. You didn't. You withheld it. You kept it for yourself, your family, your friends, and your cabinet. Because there's no way they didn't know. Every one of them came out and told us how we were managing the virus. How it wasn't a big deal, that we didn't need masks. That we didn't need to protect our families, that we could keep going. We didn't need to shut down. We didn't need to do anything because it was going to just disappear. You sent troops to die. That's what you did. You're not an American. You're not a commander-in-chief. You're not a real president. You're a puppet for Vladimir Putin. You're a coward. You're a disgrace. To anyone that is watching this, to anyone who ever sees this video, take this to heart. There's not a member of President Trump's cabinet that didn't know this information. There's probably not a Republican in Congress that didn't know this information. All of their finances, their stocks, every phone call they made from January 1st until now needs to be examined. Because if they knew, they're a traitor to this country. By his own declaration, this is a war. And every one of them gave comfort to the enemy. Every mom and pop store that shut down, they caused. Every person who lost their job and is now unemployed, they caused. Every single death from COVID-19 or that had COVID-19 as a factor is on their heads. Why? Because they picked President Donald John Trump, not over party, but over the Constitution and the American people. If you still support this man, you're not an American. If you still support this man, you're fine with a traitor. If you still support this man, I feel sorry for you. Because you support someone who has betrayed our country. He called himself a wartime president. He called every American citizen a soldier. What's the duty of a president when he sends a soldier to the front lines to give them every tool at his disposal? Honestly, I don't know why he's still in office. If he had one shred of honor, of dignity, of respect for this country, he'd resign. And if we as a nation had one shred of dignity or respect for our flag, for who we're supposed to be as a nation, we demand his resignation. We'll talk more about this later, folks. Those of us that survive, good journey.